Hello and welcome to my astrology channel. My name is Martine, and if you are new here, I do videos on Vedic astrology mainly, but also with some tropical insights, and I focus on both relationship and natal astrology. And if you like this video and you would like to hear more content from me, please like, subscribe, hit the notifications bell to see when I will post a new video. And also, please comment in the comment section if you have any feedback. And also, if you're interested in a personal consultation, I do consultations on a wide variety of topics. Please check out the video description. I will leave my contact information there. Thank you. So today's video is going to be about 2022. Now, to be fair, I don't feel like making massive predictions. Can I just start by saying that as a disclaimer? Because this is a very general prediction. I mean, it's just based on a few things that I've noticed, mainly Saturn, Jupiter, Rahu, the general energies, some things that I've noticed, etc. But of course, if you want to get like specific predictions, you have to look for, like, for instance, what is happening in a particular country. You would have to have a chart to compare these things to. But I do have some things that I want to say, and also starting next week, I will start to do predictions for 2022 for each ascendant, like I did last year. And I'm also going to be doing it the same way that I did last year, which is that I'm just going to be making like little notes with each zodiac sign, and I'm going to elect a different zodiac sign every week. Just so, you know, Pisces doesn't always come in last, although they might still come in last if I pick them last. And hopefully I will finish by January 2022. Okay, so some general themes, what I think is going to happen in 2022, general feelings based on astrology. So first of all, the good news is that Jupiter and Saturn are going to part ways. They're going to stay separate, as in Saturn will no longer be conjunct with Jupiter, which I think translates into definitely better finances, okay, for, I would say, most people, increase in wealth. Although Jupiter will also be spending a considerable amount of time in Aquarius also in 2022, it will eventually switch to Pisces around April 12th. The reason I say around, and I'm going to be using this around a certain date, is because the actual exact date depends on the location as well, the coordinates that you're talking about. So in order to see transits in your particular location, you have to do a chart calculation, okay? But around April 12th, right, Jupiter will enter Pisces, which is great because Jupiter is very happy in Pisces. This is the sign, one of the signs that it rules. And this will definitely, I think, translate into a little bit of a growth, at least. I mean, you also have to consider what has happened in the previous approximately 2 years. But I do think there will be growth economically, there will be more opportunities, and there will be renewed hope and faith, I think, for everyone. You know, a higher sense of optimism. Another thing that I want to say that I noticed, okay? First of all, Saturn is still going to spend a significant amount of the year in Capricorn. So, namely from, it's still in, I think it's in Capricorn right now, but it's going to be in Capricorn from the beginning of the year until April 22nd, 2022, and then from July 20th, 2022 until the end of 2022. And yeah, while Saturn is in Capricorn, there will still be this feeling of restriction, okay? Not a feeling so much, so at the very least, people's morale will be uplifted a little bit, but there will still be, you know, limitations. There will still be, the lawmakers are going to keep a tight grip on the population, I think. During the Aquarius phases, so the Aquarius phase is somewhere between April 22nd and July 20th, 2022. So at the very least during that time, there's going to be, a little bit less restriction, I would say, But you're also, what you could see is that since Rahu, by the way, Rahu's co-ruling Aquarius, since Rahu will be also transiting Kritika, let me think. Actually, it's transiting Kritika right now, but it will be transiting Kritika in Aries around March 20, starting I think with around March 27, 2022. So, yeah. Or until. Yeah, I think it's until. I can't understand my own notes. But yeah, I think in any case, when Saturn will be transiting Rahu, and Saturn will be in Aquarius, I think there's a higher chance of conflict here. Because Kritika is a conflict-loving nakshatra, and especially in the Aries side of the nakshatra, it tends to be kind of, aggressive, impatient, very, how should I put it? Well, Rahu. It's very obsessive, it's very determined to get what it wants, and it's very expansive. And Rahu will be ruling Saturn, basically, partially, which Saturn is the ruling orders, right? The states. That's what it represents, among other things. And since it's the states and Rahu is in Kritika, I don't know. It's like, I don't like the Kritika part of the Rahu, I have to say, but I don't want to make like any kind of negative predictions. To be fair, there are political tensions already, and there have been probably in every year of history some political tensions, and but I do think that there's high chances of some conflicts arising when Rahu will go through the Aries side of Kritika. Especially, okay, so that's another thing that I wanted to say. So Rahu, okay, Rahu is in Kritika right now, but it's in the Taurus side of Kritika. It entered, it cracked me up, and I have to say this, right, because Rahu entered Kritika, Kritika in around like early September this year. And one of the things that I was actually like looking over the transits like in the past couple of days, and I kept looking at these particular, the Rahu position. I was thinking this has to be something like connected to, some reform in some kind of or some kind of a potentially negative experience or negative situations connected to fossil fuel or like, earth resources or something, because Kritika is about environment and Rahu is, among other things, it also rules materialism and it rules technology, okay? So one interpretation is that it could be a good thing because you're going to see more legislation. So environmental things are definitely going to be in during this time when Rahu is in Kritika, especially during the Taurus part of Kritika. It will stay in Kritika in Taurus. It will stay in Kritika until April 24th, around April 24th, 2022. And then it will enter Bharani. But yeah, during this time, you're going to see massive legislations, I think, and, continuing reform with environmental policies and all this stuff. There could be definitely going to be more focus on renewable energy. And what I wanted to say was just as I was like researching this topic, I came across these documentaries and the news that Europe is going through an energy crisis, and then India is going through an energy crisis. With Europe, it's gas imports, and with India, it's coal. And I thought, well, isn't that fitting? Because we're going through the Rahu and Kritika thing right now. It begins, that kind of thing. Yeah, and I wouldn't expect this to settle anytime soon. Like I said, it will be in Kritika until April 24th, so possibly it's going to be a strong theme, this issue of how do we manage resources, renewable resources, etc. It's going to be probably a primary topic of discussion during this time. And another interpretation is when Rahu is going to enter the Aries side on, I think, March 27, 2022, it will be more aggressive. Like, so, yeah, like I said, I think there will be higher chances of conflict as long as Saturn is in Aquarius and Rahu is in Aries, and in the Kritika side of Aries. And aside from that, you could also see like breakthroughs in technology when it comes to weapons or anything to do with the military. And also to do with technology in terms of environment. So things like, I don't know, boosting in Tesla sales or something. Or, you know, these industries that have to do with relying on alternative sources of energy are going to be particularly favored. That's something that I wanted to say. And Jupiter, like I said, it will be particularly strong in Purva Bhadrapada, where it will enter Purva Bhadrapada around March 10th, but it will be in Aquarius first, and then it will, after April 12th, it will be in Pisces. So it will be particularly strong once it enters Pisces. But even so, in Jupiter in Purva Bhadrapada, even in Aquarius, is definitely going to be happy because Purva Bhadrapada is ruled by Jupiter. So this would definitely be a time, again, of increase in finances, potential revival of certain sectors of the economy, increase in cash flow, optimism definitely as well, more hope and all that stuff. And another thing that I can say is just because of the energy. So there is still a lot of feeling of overall Saturn and Jupiter kind of, exchanging energies. You also have from May 7th, Jupiter will enter Uttara Bhadrapada, which is ruled by Saturn. Okay, so there's this interchange, I think, between Saturn and Jupiter. So there will be primary energies, and what this actually means, I think, is overall there will be kind of still a feeling of caution and moderation, and particularly when Jupiter enters Uttara Bhadrapada, I think this is when a lot of people will seek to consolidate diplomacy. I mean, when it comes to the international political scenes, and it's also just a good time for basically creating new better legislation, basically to improve legislations. And let me think what else. That's pretty much it. Like, I can't see as many pieces of information as I would see in a in a personalized reading, because this is pretty vague. It's also going to be the year of the tiger, the water tiger. The last time we had the year of the water tiger was 1962, and 1962 wasn't the best year. I actually, just for out of curiosity, researched a little bit what happened then, and apparently there was a war between India and China. That wasn't good. And then there was the Cuban Missile Crisis or something in the U.S. There were a bunch of crises actually in 1962, but it doesn't mean necessarily that everything is going to repeat itself, of course. But overall, it's also just going to be a year of renewed hope and dynamism, dynamic energy, basically. So a lot of people, are going to feel re-energized and are going to try to maybe start things that are new and, I don't know exactly. Like, I don't know how to phrase it exactly. But mostly it's going to be a decent year. Definitely, I think, better than the past two. So I think a lot of people will, at the very least, it's not like we're going to go back to the way it was before the apocalypse. But I think what is going to happen is that a lot of people are going to just start to work with what is, you know what I'm saying? And try to re-establish control of their existence and pursue things. Okay, so that's pretty much what I can say. I'm going to be saying more in the ascendant-based transits analysis, which I'm going to be starting next week. I'm going to be starting next week. I haven't decided with which sign. I have to, do the little ruffle thing, and pick a sign. Okay, but hopefully by the end of next week, at the latest, I will post the first one. Okay, so this has been it, and if you liked it, please like, subscribe, hit the notifications bell, and also comment in the comment section if you have anything to add or to ask or something. And also, if you're interested in a personal consultation, I do consultations on a wide variety of topics. Please check out the video description. I will write my contact information there. Thank you.